Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardeners. So someone had a query about this particular variety of succulent. This is Graptopetalum Mendozae. I'll put up the name on the screen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. There are two varieties in this. These two are Mendozae and this is Marianne. Again, I'll put up the name on the screen. Now the question related to this plant was even after giving morning direct sunlight for around 2 hours, the succulent was still stretching. Now the reason behind this is this particular variety of succulent, from my experience, needs a lot of light, whether it's in the form of indirect bright light or in the form of direct morning sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. Now all of my pots, they get morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. Until 11:30, 12ish, they get a good amount of direct sunlight, after which they get indirect bright light. Now even the indirect bright light, what they tend to receive is around 3000 lux. So even the indirect bright light intensity is really good, and that's why you can see they are very compact and there is no stretching. They kind of look very compact. Now guys, the best part about this is you can see this pot. It's a papercrete pot. Now this pot is very old. I don't know if you guys might have seen the video. I will put the video link in the description below, wherein I have spoken a little bit in detail about this plant. This plant was potted in this pot of papercrete in October 16th, 2021. Ever since then, it has been in the same pot. No changes have been done. The papercrete pot is very strong, as you can see. This also gives you an example how durable the papercrete pots are. It's still very strong. From October 16th, 2021 until today, the present day, it has been going through a lot of seasons, monsoons, winters, summers, and the pot is still very strong, doing quite well. This gives you an indication that how durable the pots are, and the succulent itself is also doing quite well. I will put up the clip. The next clip that you're going to see is the entire process of me planting the Mendozae in this pot. And I had definitely put them quite away from each other. I had given them enough space. And now, as you can see, they have kind of clustered very well. Probably I had taken out one of the succulent from here. I don't know if it was rotting or probably some issue. I had taken it out. But rest of them, you can see they're doing quite well. Now, another important thing, as you can see, from October 16th, 2021 until today, I haven't changed the pot. So you can see that how slow they tend to grow. Again, it depends upon your environment and your climate as well. The rate of their growth all depends upon how you tend to give care to them. Now, I personally do not use fertilizers. I do not use any chemicals. I haven't had any issue with mealybugs in this pot, which is a very good thing. Probably because it gets a good amount of morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. No fertilizers added. The soil does not have any organic matter, and it never has got affected with mealybugs. Now, this is an article that I had read some time back, that when your plant, whether it's a succulent or whether it's a foliage plant, any plant for that matter, if the plant is healthy, the chances of it getting affected or infested with mealybugs or any kind of insects, any kind of bugs, any kind of fungus, mold, is very low when the plant is in its best condition or when the plant is healthy. When the plant is healthy, it has a very strong immune system which tends to keep or repel pests away from the plant. This is what I had read, and I think that article does make a lot of sense, because a lot of my succulents that are in their best condition or are very healthy have never been affected with mealybugs. Most of my succulents that do get affected with mealybugs are either if the plant is getting stretched or if the plant overall is not doing quite well. Those are the only plants that tend to get affected with mealybugs. So this is something that I have noticed, and I thought I will share it with you guys. So focus more on the health of the succulent. If the succulent is strong enough, it can easily fight those bugs and pests. It can easily repel those insects. Now the Mendozae is, so this Graptopetalum is very easy to grow compared to the Marianne. What I have felt is Marianne is a little bit more delicate as compared to the other variety. Now my plants did get damaged a lot during the renovation. If you remember, the painting work was going on. During that time, a lot of my plants did get damaged, and now you can see it's doing quite well. A very good amount of growth. Probably I had watered it a day back, so the soil is still little moist. And this is also a papercrete pot, very old. Probably this is also again maybe a year or 2 years old pot. You can see with the appearance it's a very old one. Again, this pot has also gone through all of the seasons, summer, winter, monsoon, you name it, and the pot is still doing quite well. Again, as I said, I don't hold the pots, the papercrete pots, by the edge because they can easily break off. So always hold them like this. And you can see it's doing quite well. The pot is doing extremely well. The succulents in the pot are also doing quite well. This is a Graptopetalum Mendozae. Again, this was a cutting that I had put, a stem cutting probably, and I forgot to take it out. And now I think it is kind of comfortable in this pot, so I'm not going to take it out. The roots have also kind of latched into the soil, so I'm not going to take it out because it looks pretty healthy. Doesn't look like it's having any issues. A little bit of wrinkle on the last leaf, but that's absolutely okay because I'd just done the watering yesterday. So overall, the Myrian is also doing excellent. After the painting, a lot of the leaves were broken. A lot of damage was rendered on the succulent, but now the succulent is doing extremely well. But I would say the Myrian is a little bit more delicate compared to this variety of our Graptopetalum. I'll just put the name on the screen because I do not want to mess up the name. So that's all about it. The most important thing is the intensity of the light. They need a good amount of light in order for them to stay very compact. Even this one as well, initially it was stretching a little bit, but now that it started getting a good amount of light, you can see it's more compact now. Initially, yes, there was a little bit of stretching. As you can see, the stems are a little bit visible. Now this is kind of a trailing succulent. It tends to trail out of the pot. Right now they are very small, so they look very compact, but eventually they start to trail out of the pot. So if you are a person who is interested in a succulent that tends to trail outwards, then this is one of the succulent you can add in your collection. Now guys, as I've always spoken about this, succulents are very, very slow growing plants. You can see this is a perfect example. Now, if you are a person who's looking out for plants that tend to grow really fast, then of course succulents are not going to be the choice of plants that you would want to get in. If you are getting into succulents, you also need to accept this thing that they tend to grow very slow. For me, succulents are more like a showpiece. I don't bother how fast or how slow they tend to grow. Of course, if they're growing fast, nothing better than that. But even if they tend to grow slow, I am absolutely fine with that. I'm a kind of a person, I would rather prefer my succulent to stay healthy and stay alive rather than it growing fast or slow. I'm absolutely okay with that as long as the succulent is healthy. The succulent has been in this pot for such a long time. It has not grown huge. It is growing, but it's not grown very huge. It has definitely put a lot of pups, and I'm okay with that. Even if it's growing at its own pace, I don't have any issue. I'm going to leave the succulent as it is. I take a look, I admire it, and that's all about it. I water when the soil is completely bone dry. Even though they have very chubby leaves, they do store water in their leaves. They have chubby leaves, but the size of the leaves are very small. So again, the same thing applies for them, just like any other succulent. When the soil is completely bone dry, only then go ahead and water it. So don't water it too much. Otherwise, again, the same thing, it will lead to rotting. So ensure that you have a loose, porous, well-draining soil mix, which is very lean in nutrients, and that is going to work out really well. As I said, I'm a kind of a person, I prefer to treat them like a showpiece and not interfere with them every now and then. I pot the succulent and I leave it aside. I leave them on their own. Whenever they require watering, that is the only time that I go close to them. Otherwise, I tend to watch them from a distance, and I think that has been working out really well. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.